Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. While CES was pretty much an Intel show this year and most of it was still about their new Core Ultra lineup we already covered in a deep dive in late 2023, Team Blue did not forget about their more performance-oriented enthusiast customers. So when CES 2024 kicked off almost 2 weeks ago at this point, they also launched their 14th gen Raptor Lake Refresh HX series of silicon. And while the chips themselves are not as groundbreakingly new as their Meteor Lake counterparts, you still get a subtle performance boost and, as we have seen on the show floors all around us, a lot of very different machines from almost all vendors. So let me take you through what is on offer with the new CPUs, and as lucky as we are, we have also been able to score an early sample of a high-end MSI Raider for me to check out, and the good folks from XMG hooked us up with their updated Neo 17. So we can even give you some benchmark results for the flagship i9. And my colleague Andreas from the website was also able to get his hands on a 2024 Legion 5i with a mid-range oriented i7. So sit back, grab a snack, and we will get started right after the intro. As I said earlier, nothing has changed on the architecture side of things, and any improvements come down to a refined process and increased clock speeds, especially in those mixed single and multi-core scenarios, which should give those chips some advantages, especially in gaming. In general, Intel cleaned up the lineup significantly, with the 14900HX sitting solely at the very top with an unchanged core combination of 8 performance cores that can boost up to 5.8 GHz with 1 or 2 active cores and 16 E-cores with a maximum clock speed of 4.1 GHz. This absolute unit of a CPU might be rated with a max TDP of 175 watts. But at MSI's booth they showed their flagship gamer, the new Titan HX, pushing the chip to almost 200 watts. And XMG is also able to push the chip to even 205 watts in their refreshed Neo 16 and with the optional water cooler attached. In some early unofficial testing and on water, they have been able to reach scores beyond 36K in a single Cinebench run, which is pretty bonkers for a laptop. Below the i9 flagship, the i7 14700HX has been given a few more extra E-cores, with 12 of those in total, which are once again accompanied by 8 high-performance variants. The 14650HX, which we have been testing in the before mentioned Legion 5i, i5 14500HX and the i5 14450HX at the lower end of the spectrum round out the stack of silicon. All new CPUs share a maximum RAM capacity of 192 GB, which could be pretty awesome if you can find a notebook that is even able to accommodate that many SODIMMs, which so far we have only seen in MSI's lineup once more. In theory, all CPUs support Wi-Fi 7 and Thunderbolt 5, but it comes down to the manufacturer to actually implement the feature in future laptop models. This becomes quite apparent for Thunderbolt, since only Razer offers the next-gen connectivity in their updated Blade 18 for now. But enough with the formalities, let us see what the new Intel Silicon can deliver. As our test systems, we are dealing with the latest iterations of XMG's most powerful notebook, the Neo 17, and Lenovo's gaming mid-ranger, the new Legion 5. For now we have tested the Neo on air, but it will also be quite interesting to see what the chip can do if you take away any thermal constraints with the optional water cooling, since the heat pipes now cover the CPU die as well. But that has to remain a test for another day. For now you get a relatively subtle looking 17-inch gaming machine that even without the water cooler should have more than enough cooling capabilities for the CPU and Nvidia's RTX 4090. Our early sample came with 32 GB of DDR5 5200 RAM and a fast 240Hz G-Sync compatible QHD display. In single core loads, the increased clock speeds pushes the 14900HX to the very top of our database in Cinebench R23, while both Cinebench 24 as well as Geekbench sandwiching Intel's fastest CPU between Apple's M3 Max and AMD's 7945HX. In the efficiency department, it's mostly the same story as in 2023, and Intel's cores might be fast, but they also need a lot of power. AMD is pretty much in the same ballpark, while Apple is still unbeaten. Our multi-core results show that we are talking about a very different kind of CPU here though. And as in 2023, the individual performance you will get from a given laptop will depend a lot on the power levels set by the manufacturer. XMG allows up to 160 watts, which gives it a solid advancement over last year's variant, but some notebooks that allow for even higher power levels, like the MSI 2023 Titan, were able to beat the new 14900 HX. So it will be very interesting to see what the 2024 model will be able to deliver. The 14650 HX offers a solid lead over its direct competitors and is about on par with Apple's M3 Max when it comes to pure performance. Efficiency is, once again, not really the main selling point of Raptor Lake HX. So while the Meteor Lake CPUs will most likely be implemented in thinner and lighter designs, the performance-focused models will be reserved for thicker machines that can properly cool a processor running way beyond 100 watts under full load. If you want to find out more about the relationship between power consumption and the resulting performance, we also tested the silicon at different wattages on the website. So please check out our article. I will link it up here and in the description below. But let's finally talk about something more real world, and let's kick things off with the CPU result of 3D Max TimeSpy test. And with that one, we do indeed see a measurable performance uplift compared to last year's 13900 HX. In games, on the other hand, it's actually pretty hard to directly compare a single CPU's performance impact, since there are so many different factors at play. But we did test quite a few games in 1080p Ultra, and while the difference to last year's silicon isn't huge or sometimes not even apparent, you will hardly complain about not having enough CPU grunt for all of your gaming needs. By the way, AMD's Ryzen 9 7945HX 3D is mostly faster across the board. But apart from the SCAR 17, in which we have reviewed it initially, you will not be able to find it anywhere on the market, if you can even find the SCAR itself. That actually also pretty much sums up today's video. The 14900 HX might just be a small update compared to last year's CPU lineup, so if you are sitting pretty with a 13th gen power laptop, you are golden. On the other hand, if you want to upgrade to something new and are eyeing desktop level performance, well, there will be a ton of new laptops coming out in the next few weeks that will give you a great time for work and play. While you could argue that not a lot has happened at the upper end of the performance spectrum, Intel is still the only player who seems to be able to deliver high-end CPUs in quantities needed for manufacturers to rely on. AMD's options might be more efficient on paper, but in the end they run pretty hot as well, and we did not see any real-world advantages when it comes to fan noise in the handful of devices that you would actually have been able to buy with those very CPUs. So in the end, it's not only about having the best CPU per se, but it's also as important to deliver that very silicon in products we can actually buy. So while Intel's HX platform might not be perfect, well, they will most likely power your next gaming machine. That should be everything from my end today. I hope you enjoyed our little performance overview, and a big shout out to XMG for letting us test their all-new Neo 17, and of course to all of you for watching. Please make sure to hit that like and sub button on your way out, and as always, my name is Alex, you have been amazing, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.